Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Geek'd Out. I am your host, Carter Anderson. This week, we're doing something very special, very different, very weird. We're going to be talking about the Muppets. We're going to be talking about, I think this is one of the rare times where we talk about an entire genre, because the Muppets are an entire genre. They're an entire separate genre of comedy, an entire separate genre of like hilarity in themselves, and an entire separate genre of puppetry. Like, you know, they're not puppets, they're Muppets. It's different, you know. By the way, I have to get into this. There's this one meme where someone is like, hey, which Muppet is your favorite? And someone says the Count from Sesame Street. And they were like, no, that doesn't count. And they were like, I can assure you, he counts. He definitely counts. And that's my dumb joke for today. That definitely isn't mine. It's from me. Okay, I stole it, and I'm not sorry. You can fight me. I'm 6'5". Do something. All right, I have some guests, some fellow geeks and geekettes that are going to get into this discussion with me. My first one. Very good friend of mine, very hilarious. Give it up for Jill, for Jeremy Brown. How's it going, everybody?
Hey, Jeremy, everyone. That was a great lead-in. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, whenever we get into the first guest, I don't know who the first guest is going to be until I see him, and so I'm like, it's either going to be this one or it's going to be this one, and you gotta you just gotta commit. You just gotta commit no matter what. And you know, you just gotta hang in there and stick in there. But what's going on with you, man? What have you been doing?
As you can see from my face, I'm just taking care of myself really well during quarantine, getting lots of sun and learning about my hair care routine. It's great.
Well, that was going to be my second question. You jumped in early on that, but yeah. What are some of your hair care regimens? What are some things? What's your secret?
Well, first, what you got to do is not get a haircut for 9 months. Okay. That's my big secret. Also have great genetics where you start balding in your late 20s. So the hairline just keeps on moving on back and your hair doesn't go down so much as up, which is really good. And then about every 3 months, like once a quarter, you just put a comb through it back and forth. And then you really, it's like a teenager. You've taught it well, and now you just trust it to make its own decisions and hope for the best.
It's great. I was honestly going to say you kind of look like Doc Brown back in the 40s, I imagine.
Yes.
Before
he started messing with time travel.
Yeah. It was before he hit his head and came up with the idea for the flex capacitor. It was a while. It was a while in there.
I'll take it.
Our second guest. I'll take it. Yeah, it's a good deal. Our second guest of the evening, she has actually been on one of our shows before, but not our show Geek'd Out, on our other show on Big Laugh Comedy Network. In the meantime, give it up for Jill Friedman, everybody. How you doing?
Hello. Hey. How's it going?
Hey, are you still glowing from your win on In the Meantime?
I'm going to be cruising on that one for a while. I cannot lie.
Yeah. You deserve it. You deserve it. Take that shine, honey. Take that shine. That was amazing. That was one of our better episodes. It was a really good one.
A lot of people learned important things that day, up to and including don't Google things with the word butthole in them.
God, that whole she's referring to could you explain it for them actually?
Sure.
Explain the whole thing about cats? Yeah.
I was on In the Meantime and I used the phrase the butthole cut in one of my memes. Mm-hmm. And that is referring to the cut of the movie Cats, in which they have CGI'd cat buttholes onto all of the cats. The butthole cut.
When you talked about the Snyder cut of Batman versus Superman, I was like, oh yeah, just the extended version of the director's cut. of Batman versus Superman. Got it. But buttholes cut. I was like, no, that's not a thing. That's not a thing that is a thing that's real. That's not, but it is. It is. I looked it up, and let me tell you, it's pretty awful. It's awful. It's right up there. It's right up there with like Mossad agents being caught by Syria and being publicly hanged. It's like it's gruesome. It's gruesome. It's fucking gruesome. All right.
I have never been so glad not to be high in a movie. I went to see Cats, and like my original plan had included THC, and that ended up not happening. And I was so glad, because the movie is so long that the time dilation would have just been brutal.
It would have made it so. God, I can't believe they made that fucking movie. I know it's like one of the most famous musicals, like in the past couple of decades. Like, it's a very famous musical. People love it. People love going to see Cats. I actually went to go and see Cats.
People who are fans of it, even people who are fans of it, would be like, "Look, this shit don't make sense. Just go with it."
Yeah, it's just a mess. Just a mess. Our next episode of Geek'd Out will be about the butthole cut of Cats. No.
Well, I can't be on that one because I haven't seen it. So.
No. Our next episode after this will be about Better Call Saul. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into our first subtopic of the show, and our first one is: what planet is Gonzo from? Okay, so I've always been kind of curious about this. I don't know if they actually address this in any of the Muppet films. I don't think I've seen all of them. I don't know if I'm capable of seeing all of them. Like, they have like a lot of stuff currently on like Disney Plus, but I don't think they have the whole catalog. The whole catalog. That first of all, that'd be a lot of fucking work. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with ladies first on this one. Jill, what do you think? Where is Gonzo from?
So I rewatched Muppets from Space yesterday in preparation for this conversation. And the joke answer is he's from the planet Funkadelic, because the whole movie has a funk soundtrack, and the leader of his people is clearly sort of a George Clinton type.
That's great.
So that's the joke answer. The real answer is we still don't know, because they never actually say.
Funkadelic. That's so great. I think, you do need to incorporate like more funk like back into like your 2020. Like, we need to bring funk back. This could be the year. Why the fuck not? Why not? What do we have to lose at this point? You know, what are we gonna hurt? Let's see, Jeremy, what do you think? Where do you think Gonzo is? What planet is he from?
I think he's from planet Oz. This might be controversial. Osnog. Mm-hmm. You spell Gonzo backwards.
Ooh.
I think that's what a lot of people are looking to, is just, flipping stuff around, or they're doing like the cereal from his bowl that kind of shifted around to ask if he was there. I think you just switch those letters around. He's from Osnog, and he's basically Neo from the Matrix. They knew he was the one, and so they flipped that planet's name, gave it to him, and said, "Go be with the humans and the Muppets, and let us live on in film forever."
Now, I mean, I pretty much, after you said he's actually Neo from the Matrix, I pretty much like it all stopped for me. Like, I just need a moment, because now I'm thinking, how great would a Muppets version of the Matrix be? Like, they do but they do it like serious though. It's not like
absolutely
jokes.
But it's no like that jokes. Meme. They just reshoot a movie with the Muppets and leave one human actor. So it's that.
Yeah, one thing. Okay, yeah, that's yes. But who would be the person though? Who would be the person?
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving would be the one that we keep. What do you think, Jeremy?
I see. I was gonna say Lawrence Fishburne because I think Sam the Eagle would be a great Agent Smith.
I still corrected. That's a better answer.
And
that would be perfect. Yes.
I would just love to see Lawrence Fishburne with all of the Muppets. Just, oh my God, it would be so good. Miss Piggy could be Carrie Fisher. Some of the action scenes and the outfits she would have to wear would be very awkward. But I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be absolutely perfect. I could see like maybe Scooter being like one of the agents, like Scooter being like just one of, not one of like the main agents, just one of the agents. Maybe I'm not sure who would play like Cypher, Joe Pantaleone's part. Maybe he could be in my version. I think he would be the one that would be the one human, and everyone else would be like fucking Muppets. It would be so great. Like, but it'd be super serious though. Like
Absolutely.
we don't even acknowledge that they're
Totally
Muppets. Yeah, it'd be like some real, like intense shit happening, you know. Even I think it would even make the sequels better. Like, you know, personally, when it comes to sequels, I've never really minded Matrix Reloaded that much. I always thought it was fine, personally. But you know, I'm kind of alone on that hill. Like,
that's what you always want to hear about a movie. It was fine. Just such high praise there.
Got the job done.
Honestly, like after women date me, like that's what they usually say. It was fine. You know, at least I'm getting a good report. It's a good report. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's passing grade.
I don't know. You got to take what you can get. You got to take what you can get out here. You know.
Absolutely.
I'm just doing what I can. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next subtopic, everybody. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm really excited about this one. Arguably my favorite one. Are Kermit and Miss Piggy a dysfunctional couple? I feel like that's a tough question, right? It's kind of that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Jeremy on this one. Jeremy, what do you think?
Is that a tough question?
If it is, yeah.
The only way I would say that's a tough question is if you classify them as a couple. Because if you do in fact classify them as a couple, oh my God, they're dysfunctional. That is a terrible relationship. And honestly, I think it had to do a lot with my lack of success with women, because that was one of the first relationships I looked to. So I thought you were supposed to be after a demanding woman that cared only about herself, always wanted to be in the spotlight, didn't care about your needs, but then said, I love you, please don't go. And that was a happy relationship. That relationship is terrible. Like Miss Piggy tried to trick him into marrying her. Early on, they were filming a sketch and she literally got a real minister. By the way, I'm just going to say it's very awkward for me to explain this as if these are like my friends that had this happen to them, like they're Muppets, but it's okay. She got an actual minister to perform their wedding, and the only reason it didn't actually go through is because there were hijinks, and so they didn't get to finish the sketch. If you try to trick somebody into a marriage, which by the way, The Office ripped off 2 decades later, if you do that, that is not a positive relationship. Then they couldn't describe their relationship the same way. We're engaged, we're not engaged, we're together, we're not together, we're married in our hearts. Like, it's basically Gwyneth Paltrow just took everything from Miss Piggy on how to describe relationships. They are a terrible relationship.
A conscious unfraud.
Whoa, you brought Gwyneth Paltrow into this? When did Gwyneth Paltrow do any of that? Like, I don't
conscious
really know
conscious decoupling.
Yep.
That sounds like what Piggy and Kermit said after their relationship broke, which, by the way, they announced on Twitter that their relationship was over.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
That is how bad that relationship. If you have to announce on social media that your relationship is over, it is a dysfunctional relationship. I will say, if you are a known celebrity couple for like 40 years, you got to say that shit on Twitter, because otherwise it's going to just hit the tabloids and be ugly.
You guys,
They themselves gave stories to magazines. Like that's literally, she has to be in the spotlight. She did not care what it did to their relationship. Even in the newer Muppets movie, when they were trying to give their love a chance again and saying she was taking time away from the spotlight, the first thing was the entire press was at their house and Kermit was immediately angry. It was like 3 minutes after they got back together, and immediately it had to be about her fame. She is egomaniacal, and that cannot be a healthy relationship at all.
So
I am heated right now. I am sorry. I am emotional.
I'm amused to hear about the sketch, because I'm assuming is that like an old Muppet movie, old Muppet Show sketch?
Yes.
Because that's what happened in Muppets Take Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
In the closing scene, when you see actual Manhattan Melodies performed,
yes,
they get to the wedding scene and Kermit leans over and goes, "I thought Gonzo was going to be the minister," and she goes, "Ah!" And it's an actual wedding ceremony, and then it's never addressed again. So I am also team they're dysfunctional, just to put that right up top. So that happens in Muppets Take Manhattan. All the way later in 2014, like 30 years later, in Muppets Most Wanted, they're supposedly still not married because she's hawking him to get married. And at the end, there's the whole, I want to get married to her because I saw her marrying someone else and it hurt. And no, gross.
Yeah, it is. It's really like yeah, I don't know. But especially now, especially in 2020, I have seen my share of like very dysfunctional like couples. Like we all have, we've seen our own parents like go through some like rough shit, So, but I don't know. I should speak for myself. I don't know about y'all's parents like relationships. I don't know. But what I would say is that like I think they're both very flawed individuals, and they both have some heavy egos. Obviously, Miss Piggy is a bit more. It's kind of like if they took Rihanna and they turned her into a Muppet a little bit. Like it's a lot. Yeah, that's right. I came for you, Rihanna. Go ahead, get mad. But I don't know. I think in a relationship that can be saved should be saved. I think there is a world where even Miss Piggy can choose Kermit over the spotlight and just say, you know what, I'm done. Like I could live in a world where there are the Muppets, but where like Kermit and Piggy just decide to just like walk away and are like, they're not on the show anymore. They're no longer a part of the Muppets. They decided that the only way that they can have a successful relationship is if there are no cameras, there's no entertainment, there's no big show that they've got to do, get involved. If they do that, then it's successful, but otherwise it just won't work. They'll be like,
imagine the Muppets as the main characters from The Americans, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It makes.
I don't see Piggy ever do it. She had literally opportunity after opportunity to walk away and prioritize that relationship, and she never did it. I feel like that would be one of those things. I think they're codependent. Like I think that is a thing. They both need individual and couples counseling because they got some stuff to work on. But I think if Piggy, that would be like her last ditch. I don't need the spotlight anymore. Let's move to a ranch in Wyoming and it'll just be us. No cell phone reception, no cameras. It'll be great. And within a week, she's ready to kill him, or she has contacted the E! Network to fill the time slot that Keeping Up with Kardashians had. and now there is a reality show based on their love. I don't think there is a world where they can find common ground and just be happy together with nothing else.
I don't know. Even with everything that's going on right now, I still remain an optimist, and I think a naive one at that. So unfortunately, I have to respectfully disagree, Jeremy. There is a world. It probably won't happen. I'll tell you right now. They will probably just go round and round and round in this relationship and like just kind of do the same shit forever. But maybe both of them will learn from their mistakes and get better. I mean, me and my parents, I don't know, man. My parents were dysfunctional like when I was growing up. I was like, man, is this what it's like to like live with Bobby and Whitney? Like in this case, my mom was Bobby. My mom was Bobby. Okay. Just want to make that clear. Okay. That doesn't make it better, by the way, also. That's also still bad. And sorry for bringing out y'all's dirty laundry into the conversation, Mom and Dad. They don't watch Zoom. They don't watch my show. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. From seeing very dysfunctional couples survive and make it, like I absolutely think that they'll be fine. I don't know. But they probably will just go through the same shit over and over and over and over. But it will be entertaining for us for years and years to come. So that's the good news, you know. It's kind of like it's like Jennifer Aniston and her relationships. Like, you know, every single time that she gets in one, that it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work out. It's just gonna, you know. I also don't think that Jennifer Aniston and Kermet would work out. I don't think that would work out at all. Like they would date for like a couple years and maybe have a couple kids. And but yeah, they would eventually she would drive her away.
Too nice to him. Like whatever the breakdown would be, he would get to that point where he would start to like bait her and try and get her to treat him badly, and she would be like,
"Yeah,
what the hell are you doing?"
I'll be honest. I would like to see Kermit with AOC. He needs a strong, driven woman that he can support. And I think she would still be good to him, but that is still like he wants to be in the background. Even on the newest Muppet show, he was a producer. He didn't want to be in the limelight. He wants to be in the background. He would hold her coat. He would cheer and campaign for her, but she is the strong woman that Kermit needs. I think they'd be good together.
That would be so amazing, and it would be that would just yeah. Can we just make that happen? Like honestly,
this is the AOC lipstick color, by the way.
Nice.
Is that really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was gonna comment on that next. That's great. All right, guys. So everyone, if you're enjoying this show, enjoying our funny banter on the Muppets and all things geeky, then you should send us money. We really enjoy it, and there's very few times where we'll say no to it. Like if the money is on fire, we wouldn't want that money. If the money is covered in lupus, we also wouldn't want that money. But also, I don't know, you could just clean the money though. But also, if you send it to us through Venmo or Cash App, we'll always take that money because that money cannot be covered in fire or lupus. That's just impossible. You can go to Venmo at BL Comedy or on the Cash App, $, Big Left Comedy, and all of the money will be split between the guest and the production crew. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
Hey dude, have you finished that video yet?
Yeah, I'm working on the video right now.
Hey dude, the Zoom call is at 6 p.m.
At 6? Yeah, that should be fine. I can make that work.
Hey dude, the Zoom call actually got pushed to right now. Hurry up.
What? When did that happen?
Hey dude, I just got your video. Great fucking job.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate that.
Hey dude, I'm actually gonna need you to make a couple changes to that video.
What? You just said it was fine.
I know what I said, dude. But the powers that be asked for some changes.
The powers that be? You're the boss. You're the powers that be.
Redo the video. Just redo the entire thing.
Mother! Is your boss a pain in the ass? While you can't always choose your employer, you can choose how you handle stressful situations. Try Elevate. It protects your brain so you can remain focused, and it helps you to relieve stress. That way, you can handle the most difficult tasks and the most difficult people. If work has you stressed out, try Elevate. I feel a lot better. Mother!
Get 20% off in the next 24 hours when you use code BLC at checkout.
All right, we are back. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little commercial time. We took some time. I did a little bit of sewing. I finished college, and I got my life together. And I got off of meth. That was the hardest thing to do in that minute and a half. But I got it done. What's your excuse? All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our next subtopic of the show, which is who was the greatest guest to ever appear on the Muppet Show? Now, for y'all's answers, you are more than welcome to also use Muppet Tonight, the later show that came out in 2015. Any version of the Muppet Show you want, you're more than allowed with it, whatever you want. It's no big deal. It's fine. I'm going to go ahead and give my answer first, if you don't mind. My personal opinion is the best guest to ever appear on the Muppet Show, easily, was Elton John. That's my answer. Elton John, that episode was the most magical moment for the Muppets. Like it all turned into just a giant Muppet music video with Elton John. It was so great. Like all the creatures, la 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 la. Like it was just so fucking great. It was like you were doing LSD while watching the Muppets. It was so dope. It was so great. I really think that he was one of the greatest guests to ever be on that show. He was so great. Honestly, anytime Elton John does anything, like I tend to pay a lot of attention. But that was a really, really good guest appearance. That was great. Also, his appearance on Soul Train was one of the best as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into Jill. Jill, what do you think?
So I sat down and wrote a list of which guests I remembered and who really stood out. Sure. Vincent Price and Alice Cooper, I think, are the heavies on that one.
Oh. Wow.
And I was sort of looking at some Muppet best Muppet guest lists, and Johnny Cash was on there, and they showed some clips, and the Johnny Cash ones had the Confederate flag in it. I'm like, ooh, that didn't age too good.
Oh boy, yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, I forgot about that Johnny Cash.
I was like, ooh.
It's.
But Alice Cooper's is so good because he's trying to sell everyone's soul to the devil. That's how and there's this gag where they're like, oh, here's our special effects budget, and it's just this list of a receipt this big, so standard CVS receipt size.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
But it was it stood out in my mind as a kid. Who's this Alice Cooper guy? Why is his name Alice? Why is he wearing all that eye makeup? Ooh, he's kind of spooky. I'm kind of into this. It's a lot of, I feel for a lot of kids in their late 30s and older, this was how they were introduced to the concept of goths.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah. I mean, is that pretty much how you became familiar with Alice Cooper? Is that how you kind of
that was my
who
first
he was as a kid?
I
That's
think
amazing.
I also did some Scooby-Doo that I might have caught later on, but I'm pretty sure Muppets was my first introduction. And then of course the Price.
If we were
sorry.
I was gonna say, but if we were going with best guest appearance on Scooby-Doo, easily Harlem Globetrotters. It's not even a competition. That's just it. It's not even up for debate, really. Just Harlem Globetrotters on Scooby-Doo. That was
guest stars, right? Your show made it when the
Yeah.
Harlem Globetrotters showed up.
Oh yeah, if the Harlem Globetrotters were ever on this show, like I honestly, if the Harlem Globetrotters were on this show, we would still just geek out about the Harlem Globetrotters. We would probably just like, I'd have them like teach me some stuff, and then we'd do some spinning on the basketball, and it would be just a great time. And then they'd play against that white team that they always beat. By the way, we're getting so off topic here, but one of the funniest episodes of How I Met Your Mother is the episode where it's Ted and Marshall are fans of that white team that always gets beat by the Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah, that's hilarious. That was a really funny episode. That was clever. That was good on them, because they had some dumb episodes on that show. Yeah, that was good. Okay, all right, Jeremy. Now you, sir, Mr. Brown. Who do you think was the best guest on Muppets?
I'll just tie back to Jill's answer for just a second. I think it's hilarious that all of these parents said Alice Cooper is the devil and this terrible person and Satan's music. And so many of us were introduced to him on the Muppet Show and Scooby-Doo. That's the devil. So yeah, devil's hanging out with cartoons and puppets. For me, I think my favorite guest and arguably one of the best guests was Steve Martin. I think he was hilarious, and he was basically built for that show because the Muppet Show was a variety show. Yep. And he did a variety of things. Like he did some stand-up, he did his balloon animals, he juggled, he played the banjo on multiple occasions, and that allowed them to incorporate lesser known Muppet artists. And I thought it was interesting because I went back to kind of look at things, and as I was rewatching it, one of the interesting facts was they didn't have to use the laugh track for that episode because the crew was laughing so hard that they just used their recording. And I'm like, if you can break people that do this for a living and use that instead of a laugh track, that's huge. Oh, yeah. It was just like, it was the epitome of Steve Martin at that time. Like he had the arrow through his head and the excuse me, like it was quintessential Steve Martin, but it fits so well into that world because he's this silly guy. He does all of these different things that were goofy. You could show that, like, no problem showing that episode to kids and them enjoying Steve Martin. And I just thought like it just fit so well.
Yeah,
it was just so perfect because that's when Steve Martin was his most Steve Martin.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like now, he's still Steve Martin now. He still exists, but I think now he's only operating at like 65% Steve Martin. Yeah. Which is fine. That's an acceptable amount of Steve Martin.
It's a good amount.
It's all right. He's standing in the woods playing us lovely banjo numbers, and that's fine.
He's more banjo Steve Martin, like happy grandpa Steve Martin playing the banjo, hanging out with a sweater. That was Steve Martin. Like women loved them some Steve Martin at that time. Like he could pull off the deep V at that time. Like he was killing it. Like top of the game, Steve Martin.
Every area code.
Very much. That was like, God, it would have been interesting to, because I don't know, I'm only 33, like, so I was born in 86. So that Steve Martin had already been doing his thing. It would have been interesting to like grow up. I don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted to grow up so much in the 70s, but it maybe would have been a little bit worth it just to like see like Steve Martin like at his highest. That was those comedy albums that he was doing back then, like, the shit that he was doing, it was so outrageous and no one had really seen anything like that. There are comedians that you can kind of compare to Eddie Murphy. There are comedians that you can compare to Kevin Hart. There are comedians that you can compare to Stephen Wright. There are a couple other Stephen Wright type comedians. There are even comedians that you can compare to Mitch Hedberg. There's no comedian quite like Steve Martin, except for like the entire cast of the Muppets, because it is really like a variety. Like, and he was truly a Renaissance man of entertainment. He did everything. If he had just never did comedy his entire life, he would have just made it as a musician. And then if he had never done like music or comedy, then he just would have made it as something else. Like, you know, just some sort of absurdism would have like, you know, gotten us to a place where we know Steve Martin in some kind of way. So yeah, I think that's a great answer. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Absolutely terrific. I think he's it really was one of the most fitting things. Yeah. But then also my answer.
I did find a really cool piece of trivia. Rita Moreno has an EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, and the Emmy that she has is from her guest star on the Muppet Show, which I thought was really cool.
That is so amazing.
Multiple people won Emmys for being on that show. Like it's crazy. Like people loved it. I'll say, I'll give an honorable mention because one of the pieces that I remember the most is the retooled, rebooted 90s version of the Muppet Show when Prince was on.
Yes.
Because he sang Raspberry Sorbet and randomly every 6 months, I'll just start singing Raspberry Sorbet. And I'm just like, what? And it's just stuck with me. I didn't even really know Prince or understand what Prince was, but that thing has just always stuck with me. So special
bounced the pancakes joke off his appearance on Muppets Tonight too. Wasn't that originally?
Yeah, I think that works. You know, I was gonna say another good honorable mention while we're mentioning Muppets Tonight, the Cindy Crawford episode. Oh man! Like, first of all, like Cindy Crawford, like in the '90s, that was it. That was it, man. Like, you know, like that was it for everybody. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Peak Cindy Crawford.
Pepsi Cindy Crawford.
Peak Cindy Crawford. Pepsi Cindy Crawford.
Yes. Lying on the cover of there.
It was just so perfect. Like, I remember the bear was like trying to date her or whatever.
Yes.
Like the bear was like trying to get it in, and like the rat was helping, and they were like talking on like little walkie-talkies, and he like tucked his in so like he could only hear it, but she couldn't hear what the rat was saying. Like we've all seen this setup before. They've done this setup in pretty much every single sitcom ever. Like, it's nothing new. Even back then in like '96, it was still like the most used thing ever. But like, so like he was like, it always starts off well. It always starts off well. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, you look very pretty. Oh, well, thank you. That's really nice. And then the rat like gets distracted because some kids are like trying to sell him balloons. It's like, nice set of balloons you got there. Nice set of balloons you got there. What? Oh man, how much for two of those? How much for two of those? What? Smacks the bear. It's just perfect, like perfect sitcom 101. Sitcom 101 right there. That's textbook. That's textbook comedy. It was just really great. So I think that was definitely up there. So really good one. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our last and final subtopic of the evening, which is which Muppet movie was the best. I went first last time. Let's see. Jill, you go ahead and give your answer. What do you think?
I think I'd have to say Muppet Christmas Carol. Just as, and I think I just told Jeremy's answer. Just in terms of on technical quality, on the fact that it's one of the most faithful interpretations of the story ever. The way they break the fourth wall and then don't and then do again. It's just so beautifully done. Ghost of Christmas Res. Christmas Future, the one that was the child, the creepy child, or is this maybe that was Christmas Past? I don't remember.
Okay. I believe that if it's a kid, yeah, I believe that was Christmas Past. I believe that was Past. And then the Christmas Future is all the gloomy.
Yeah, the puppetry in the Ghost of Christmas Past was such a callback to 80s creature shop, Dark Crystal kind of stuff. I don't know. It just, and the songs are all incredible. I take strong exception to the edit that removes "The Love Is Gone," which is easily one of the most heart-wrenching songs ever written in the English language. But also, there was a McSweeney's article this past Christmas that was what was going through Elizabeth Cratch's head in the last scene of Muppet Christmas Carol, and it's possibly one of the funniest things McSweeney's has ever published.
That's so great. Yeah, I think that's a fair answer. So, Jeremy, what about you, sir?
I was really I was going to get to give an original answer, but no, I agree. I think it's amazing. And I think you've got multiple elements here because you have the sentimentality of just that story, but also the Muppets. And it's weird to say, but the casting was incredible. I think Gonzo as Dickens was amazing. He is a great storyteller, and I think that was fantastic. That's when they first paired up Rizzo and Gonzo. I thought that was great teamwork. I thought Stadler and Waldorf as Marley and Marley, beautiful. Yeah, Michael Caine killed that. He was perfect as Scrooge. I think throughout you had singing lettuce heads. Everything throughout was so fantastic. It's well done. That when everybody's talking about favorite Christmas movies or what do you have to watch, I'm like, Muppet Christmas Carol. That is my Christmas movie.
Justin Funny is the child.
Yes. Yeah. Everything was just so well done. I thought it was fantastic. What I will say that is, I'm just sorry, I'm going to steal the format and just tweak things. I'm going to give an honorable mention for being the most aware of itself is the Muppets movie with Jason Segel. I think that was, and I remember seeing previews for it and I'm like, they're just speaking to me right now. Because it was literally everybody in my age category that grew up with Muppets and Muppet Babies, or even people a little bit older that had, original The Muppet Show, things like that. And we're like, well, the Muppets went away. People have forgotten about them. And then you just see all these people that are my age standing outside, screaming for them, clapping, and just some of the jokes that they make. It really was speaking for people like me that grew up with the Muppets, absolutely loved them, and then they just went away, and then now magically they're back. And I loved that movie. I think it was more. It's again weird to say. There was a lot more human element than is typical for a Muppet film. But I thought it was so aware of itself. It was so funny and great. The music, I think it was really interesting to see them get more contemporary with the times, but still stay true to their roots and do so many callbacks and we traveled by map. God, that's one of the funniest things. Just I think it was so great. But yes, overall best is A Muppet Christmas Carol. I think that is just a perfect Christmas movie.
Yeah. To bounce off of what Jeremy was just saying too about Muppet, the later Muppets movie, I watched Muppets Most Wanted for the first time yesterday. That movie is incredible. That movie is
it's very good.
Underrated as hell. The musical numbers are a fever dream and they're great. They're so good.
They're so great.
Faye just fucking crushes it. Just everything about it. It was amazing.
She did a great job in that. I think she really did wonderfully. And then the newer one with the Jason Segel one. first of all, I'm glad he got to do that. I'm really glad that he got to do that because I mean, when you think of Jason Segel,
He is a Muppet.
You think of the Muppet. Yeah, he is a Muppet. He's a giant Muppet. He plays the piano and he sings and he's a fucking Muppet. He's a Muppet. He's a Muppet. Absolutely. I would say my answer for the best film of all, I would say Muppet Treasure Island is that would be a big one for me. Like I think I just enjoyed it so much as a kid. Like that one, I think that was really the movie that sort of kind of introduced me to the Muppets. Like besides Muppet Babies, I hadn't really seen that much Muppet stuff. And then I saw the Muppet Babies, and then I saw like the Muppet Show. Like it was like a couple years later, and then I was like, oh, that's where this is from. Oh, it was like the Muppets, and now, oh man, that makes sense. Oh man, I was having a whole bunch of like epiphanies all at once, and they all sounded like that. Like it was a lot happening. But yeah, like Muppet Treasure Island, I mean, definitely really spoke to like, my adventurous side as a kid and like, my heavy imagination. I think that's like, why I'm always kind of moving at like 100 miles an hour. Just so great, big Tim Curry fan, obviously. So
is that your introduction?
It just kind of did everything right for me. Kind of. You know what? I don't think so. I think I saw
Lost in New York.
I believe that I saw I saw Lost in New York, Home Alone, Lost in New York first.
I forgot he was in that. Oh my god.
Yeah. He's
just
such a good bad guy.
He is. He's so great at it.
His smile is too
it's his
big.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
His smile is too big.
It is. It's like the Grinch. That's why they
they did that split screen. Yeah.
That was so perfect when they did that. Honestly, that was. I loved him in Home Alone too. He was so great. I even made a meme saying like, hey, listen, like we really enjoyed Home Alone 1, but you can't just make the exact same movie and expect us to be okay with it. And then they put like, well, what if we add Tim Curry to it? And then I said, well, shit, man, that's all you had to say.
I think the thing that sticks out the most to me about Muppet Treasure Island, because I'll be honest, we had the VHS copy with the extra padding because it was a Disney film. So the thing that sticks out most is when the tribe kidnapped them and they started singing boom shakalaka, and then it became boom shakalaka, boom shak, and I was just like, oh yes, hip hop for the suburban white kid. This is fantastic. Thank you, Muppets. So yeah, that also made an impression on me.
It was just so great. I mean, let's see, what are some good honorable mentions? Muppets Most Wanted, definitely also great. Let's see, Muppets in
The Great Muppet Caper, wonderful. Solid.
Oh man,
let's give a shout out to Diane Rigg.
Yes,
Lady Holiday,
so great.
And they so good,
just so great. I mean, I think I just think that what Jim Henson has created here, like, with all of these, like, these films, like he created an entire world, an entire genre. And, it's truly a shame. It's a real tragedy that he isn't here to like really like enjoy the fruits of his labor and like really see how much he's like affected young people and like old people alike with all of this. Like, it's so crazy, but also like, if you have a cough, like, and you're feeling crummy, go to the doctor right away. Do not wait. Do not be like, it's just a cough. It was for Jim Henson, it was just a cough. For Eazy-E, it was just a cough. Okay. Like fucking pay attention to the shit. All right. It's serious. It's your life. But yeah, he created something great. And honestly, he had been working for like a long time. He had been working like since the fucking the late 50s. So he had been working for a long time. He'd already made like Sesame Street. He already made the Muppet Show. And he already was pretty much wrapping up dinosaurs at the time. So he knows. I think he knows. I think he was able to walk away from this earth knowing, man, I did that shit. I did that shit.
If you're familiar
Probably
with
didn't
the
sound like that when
YouTube channel Defunctland, they did a whole 5-episode series on Jim Henson, I think last year. It's definitely worth a watch. It is very in depth. It goes from like the early sex and violence years all the way up to his passing and like what was in the works when that happened and all kinds of stuff. It's really good watch.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely check that out. Well, guys, I think this brings the show to a perfect little close. The Muppets, I think they've pretty much, even if you were born like 4 years ago, like the Muppets, I guarantee you that your parents have made you watch some Muppet stuff. You've been exposed to some Muppet shit at this juncture, and you'll probably be exposed to a lot more later. Like, this is something that is truly an authority as far as comedy and entertainment and child entertainment goes. I want to thank my guests, Joe Friedman and Jeremy Brown, for being such great guests. You guys have been awesome. I also want to thank our engineer, Jose, and our producer, Daniel. You guys are awesome. Bad Boys for Life. And also want to thank all of our other shows at Big Laugh Comedy. You're all wonderful. And once again, guys, if you want to support the show, the best way to do that is to give us money. You can go and hit us up on Venmo, that is at BL Comedy, or on the Cash App, that's a big $ Big Laugh Comedy, and all of the money we split between the guest and the production crew. And also wanted to thank our sponsor, Elevate. Guys, make sure to check out Elevate and use promo code BLC at checkout to get 15% off all of their products. Guys, this has been Geek'd Out. I have been Carter Anderson, and we will see you next time.